We want to take you now live to Dnipro and CNN's Sam Kiley, who's been following this for us. Sam, describe the scene. What are you seeing behind you?
Well, Boris, it's 11 hours since whatever hit this medical clinic did that. Now, a good deal of the front part of this building has been taken down by these diggers and cranes, but you can see also there, I hope you can make it out, they're still spraying water into that. They're actually collecting burning debris, putting the fire out and then taking it away in dumpsters. Now, 2 people were killed here. The local authorities, Boris, saying that's nothing short of a miracle because they could have been much, much worse. But the numbers in this clinic were down because one medical shift had left and the other medical shift hadn't got underway. So there were fewer people here. But the majority of people in there that were injured in terms of a profession, certainly there were 6 doctors at least that were injured in there. 2 people killed, a total of 30 people injured. In what was, according to the World Health Organization, there has been a systematic targeting of medical facilities and medics across the country throughout this war, with nearly 1,000 occasions being recorded by the World Health Organization, And we saw, of course, a similar pattern in Syria, where the Russians were absolutely systematic about the destruction of medical facilities. But this is also a civilian area anyway, where it's difficult to see at night, but we're surrounded by residential buildings. There's an apartment block there. There's several more over in that direction, Boris. Because of the targeting of civilians and above all the targeting of a medical facility, the French government and no doubt other elements within the international community are already describing this latest attack as a war crime, which President Zelensky inevitably almost calls a terrorist crime. Boris?
Yeah, the international community decrying this as a violation of international humanitarian law. Sam Kiley, thank you so much for that reporting. Let's get some perspective now from General Mark Hertling. He's a retired lieutenant general in the United States Army, also a CNN military analyst. General Hertling, always great to see you. Appreciate your perspective, sir. Not the first time that we've seen Russia target civilian infrastructure, but this attack specifically on a clinic, a hospital that treats patients with mental illnesses. This seems especially egregious.
It is, Boris. And when you take a look at the targeting that Russia has executed throughout this campaign, as you just said, they have targeted hospitals, schools, civilian infrastructure, civilian apartment buildings with some of the most devastating of weapon systems. You know, in just looking from afar at that building, that was a 1,000-pound or greater bomb that hit that thing. It was a missile or a bomb or something, but it was huge. It wasn't just a small thing, and it was purposeful because that hospital is in the middle of a very large town, Dnipro. And again, it just summarizes the Russian way of war. As Sam said, they've done it before in Syria, in Chechnya, and all the other places they have fought, and it just exacerbates the suffering of the people of the country they are going up against.
So in your mind, how much does this sort of targeting have to do with the upcoming Ukrainian counteroffensive that we've been anticipating now for some time? Is this potentially an act of desperation, or is this just part of the standard operating procedure of the Russian war machine?
I personally don't. I know a lot of people have been saying this is sort of Russia's way of actually trying to stop the offensive by Ukraine. I don't believe that. They have been doing this since the beginning of the war. They have done this in every conflict they have been in the 20th century since Mr. Putin has taken over. Again, I'll emphasize, it is the Russian way of war to purposely target civilians in violation of the Hague Convention and the Geneva Protocols. So the president of Russia, his generals, whoever is deciding on these targeting, are all guilty of war crimes, in my view.
General, I also wanted to get your thoughts on the Dutch Prime Minister, Mark Rutte. Today, he told journalists that the decision to send F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine had not been finalized, yet the Netherlands is supposed to lead the training mission on those jets. What do you make of his comments?
Well, what we're looking at is, Boris, I think, is a commitment, a long-term commitment to Ukraine. This is what's been preempting some of the weapon systems. Again, the focus has been on What can Ukraine put to use right now? What can they logistically support? And what can the allies provide? When you're talking about complicated system, certainly you can put a pilot in very quickly and teach them how to train the F-16. It's all the accompanying equipment, the supply, the support, the maintenance, the supply chain that is more and more difficult. So what you're seeing is a preparation for the future. Even with the announcement 2 weeks ago, I said, you know, it's great that there are some countries that are willing to give up F-16s, but it's going to take a long time, and you're not going to see those aircraft in this upcoming offensive. Those will come later. But it is a signal, a signal certainly to Russia that modernization of the Ukrainian military is coming, and the West will continue to support.
General Mark Hertling, we have to leave the conversation there. Appreciate your analysis.